Today we are looking at the basic canvas functions and basic node functions of AniShort. After opening the project, we will see an interface like this. The left area is divided into the canvas list and the node list. The plus button here allows you to create a new canvas. The button on the right lets you rename it. You can filter canvases by clicking here. The search box also allows you to search for canvases. Next to the Add Canvas button is the entry for version history. Clicking it opens all the historical records of this canvas. It automatically saves every half hour, so if you want to restore a previous version, you can go here and click Restore to this version. Below the canvas list is the node list. All nodes created on our canvas will be listed here. We can use the filter to quickly find nodes or hide them. For example, if you want to hide a node, click the eye icon and the node will be hidden. At the same time, if we want to quickly locate a specific node, we can click the navigation button to jump to that node. After covering the left panel, next is the area at the bottom of the canvas. The first button is the eye icon for showing hiding connection lines. Clicking Hide will hide all reference connections on the canvas. If we want to reconnect nodes, we need to turn this back on. Next is the Asset Manager button. This interface shows all the image and video assets on the current canvas. You can also switch to view the asset libraries of other canvases. Under History Assets, we have all the images and videos ever generated. These are all preserved for us to find. Also, on the History Assets tab, if you want to reuse an asset, click the plus button, and it will be added back onto your canvas. Next is the Add Node button. You can see the entire list of nodes here. You can also right-click on an empty area of the canvas to create a node. Each node is marked with a number and letter abbreviation, which means you can use hotkeys. For example, if you want to create a text node, just press T, and a text node will be created instantly. Here is the subject library. It is mainly used to store your defined characters, props, etc. You need to manually create subjects and add characters, props, scenes, etc. to the subject library. All assets in the subject library must be named accurately. No casual naming, no spaces, no special symbols. Also, they must be sorted into the correct categories, characters under character, scenes under scene, because the operations available differ depending on the category. On the far right is the Style selection, which includes some built-in styles. You can also create your own style. Before starting a project, you should determine the style and avoid changing it midway, as that will affect the consistency of the entire film. If you want to create your own style, click Create Now. This will create a style node on the canvas. You can input your desired style as a prompt, or import reference images as the style and connect them to the node. In the upper right corner of the canvas, there is the Share and Collaborate button. If you click on Personal Project, you can share a project link. After copying and sharing it with others, they will not enter your project immediately. They will send you a request, and they can only enter after you approve it. Of course, if you do not want others to use the current canvas, you can click the Lock button in the upper right corner. When it turns red, it means others cannot use this canvas. Regarding the avatar area, if there is only one avatar, it means only you have operated on this canvas. If multiple people have used it, multiple avatars will appear here. Next, let me introduce all the node functions here. Here the nodes are divided into several categories. The first category is text nodes. The second is image nodes, followed by sound nodes, video generation nodes, reference material nodes, style nodes, and batch generation nodes. First, let's look at the text node. Below the node, there is a dialog box. This is the prompt input box, where you can directly write your ideas. At the same time, in the lower left corner, there is a model selection dropdown. We can choose the desired AI model for text as needed. Finally, click the Generate button in the lower top right corner. Now look at the overall structure of a node. The left side represents input ports. The right side represents output ports. Click on the text at the top to rename the node. If you want to view it in full screen, click here to view the text content in full screen. Next, look at the script node. After clicking to activate it, you can see 4 commands at the top. Later nodes like subject extraction and storyboard generation have a similar structure. You can also see that the image node below has the same structure. The main composition of this structure is a prompt input box at the bottom and command lines at the top. The operation method for all nodes with this structure is first generate the content of the node itself. For example, if it is a script, you first need to generate or import the script. Then click the command buttons above the node from left to right in order to execute them. Note that you must operate from left to right in sequence. Next, let's look at the image node. First, you need to fill in your prompt. Then select the image generation model you need, followed by parameter settings such as resolution, aspect ratio, camera control. Looking further to the right, there are 2 channels, normal and high speed. The high speed channel generates images faster, but it consumes more credits. Next is the generation quantity, and finally the generation cost credits and the generate button. Next, look at the plus button here. After clicking it, you can see all the assets on our canvas. They can be imported as reference images, or you can connect them through image links via our input ports. The first one here corresponds to the global style we selected at the beginning. Now look at the area above the image. There is a whole row of commands related to image processing, such as inpaint, crop, matting, HD, and outpaint. InPaint allows you to use a selection or brush to redraw and regenerate a specific part of the image. Crop allows you to crop the image to a certain ratio. Matting here specifically refers to 1/6 separation of the character from the background. Outpaint means extending the canvas area of the image. Next, let's talk about the batch processing task. This function is mainly for batch processing our images. It has 2 input ports, one for image input and one for reference style input. The upper area is the prompt input box. The middle shows the number of images to be processed, and below are command lines for resolution and aspect ratio. For example, we can batch adjust the resolution or aspect ratio of a dozen images at once, or use a prompt to batch apply other adjustments to the images. Next, let's talk about the sound node. It is mainly divided into 2 parts, voice generation and music generation. We can directly drag and drop our desired voice from local files to assign a voice to a character. For music generation, we can use prompts to generate BGM, sound effects, etc. Next, let's look at the video generation node. Its structure is very similar to the image generation node. Above the input box, there are global style and reference import options. For video generation model selection, it covers all mainstream models on the market, such as Cadence 2.0, Kelling V3 Grok, etc. Inside the box after the model selection, there are parameter settings specific to each model. Taking Cadence 2.0 as an example, there are 3 generation methods: first, last frame, universal reference, and text. When we switch between them, you will see that the left-hand side nodes here become gray or lit up. Gray means that node cannot accept input. For example, in first-last frame mode, the first frame and last frame icon nodes light up. When switching to universal reference, the corresponding image, sound, video, and style nodes light up. Further down are the aspect ratio, resolution clarity, and duration settings. Just choose according to your needs. Next, look at the reference material node. This node is mainly used to upload some local assets. Images, videos, audio, etc. can all be directly uploaded for use or as references. Finally, let's talk about the batch generation node. It is mainly for scenarios where a large number of videos or images need to be generated, or when you want to leave the generation running overnight. It avoids the drawback of having to wait a long time. We just need to connect the output node button from the video generation or image generation node to our batch generation node. Then we will see the generation list in the task queue here. Above that, there are two important generation settings. One is Auto Retry on Failure. With this feature, we can simply queue up the assets and let it generate on its own. If it fails, it will automatically adjust the prompt and regenerate until successful, then finish the task. The other is Auto Rewrite Violating Prompts. Its main function is, if generation fails, it will automatically check whether the prompt violates policies and help rewrite it. Finally, click Start Batch Generation, and it will batch generate and process videos or images for us overnight. So what is the difference between this batch generation node and the batch processing task node we just talked about? First, the batch processing task node only handles batch processing of images, and it does not have the features of idle time generation or auto retry. The batch generation node is mainly for idle time generation. If you want to manage multiple nodes on the canvas, you can directly box select them to group them, and you can also name the group. Above the group, there will also be some command lines, allowing you to batch create subjects and batch generate. Execute entire group here also means batch generation, and you can also batch download the content in the group. If you want to copy a node, you can use the keyboard shortcuts Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. This operation also works across canvases. If you want to perform batch operations, just box file select everything and copy paste.